I have some video of a game earlier in the season. I thought we could take a look and kind of talk about some of the saves if you're into that.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second. I will warn you, the video is not the greatest quality. But in terms of just not in terms of the saves. The saves are amazing. I'm talking about just the quality of the video. So first play right here.
Low clock situation here for the Tar Heels.
Kind of a loose ball outside of the crease, and boom, you know, there you are sprinting outside of the crease to not only win that ball, but then, you know, give a little juke. Has that always been a part of your game, that outside of the crease play?
Yes. I literally remember playing like my first game in like third grade. I don't remember actually asking my dad this, but he'll like never forget it. And I remember like there was always like a ton of ground balls. Obviously in third grade, nobody knew how to catch and throw yet. So the ball was always on the ground. And I remember saying to my dad, "Can I run out and scoop it?" And he's like, "I think," like, he's like, "I don't know actually." But I from that time, I always was like a very, very active goalie. I always went for ground balls. I eventually learned to go for interceptions, and I was never afraid to run out and try to like dodge somebody. But I realized as I got more towards college, it definitely got a lot harder, just considering the girls are much faster. The ball's not on the ground as much. Everyone's a little smarter. They're not going to throw an interception into the goalie stick. So I don't come out as much as I used to, like in high school and everything. But obviously, there's always that like one opportunity a game where I can come out and get a ground ball. And I thought on that one in the video that was a pretty reasonable time to step out, just because there wasn't that many girls around. I don't usually battle somebody for a ground ball, but if it's open out in the open, I'll go for it.
Yeah, that, you know, leaving the crease was a big aspect of my game too. And I think like if you're a shorter, quicker goalie, like it should be. There's no reason, you know, if you're a big kind of slower, you know, I mean, like I said, there's goalies that are 6'4" and 200 pounds and you know, not as quick as us. And that, in which case, you know, if you want to stay home, fine, you know, but if you're short, quick, and you can see an opportunity where you have like, I don't know, just direct access to a ground ball, like by all means, get out of the cage and go get it.
Yeah.
I think this save right here.
One is leading goal scorer.
That's where we're talking about that cat-like quickness, you know, where this girl is in front, and I mean that's pretty close. She takes a shot in traffic, and bam, you explode up. Anything you want to add on that save right there?
I think another really hard part that I learned in college is that when you're in high school, a lot of the time girls don't shoot it unless they're pretty open. And I think when you get to college, it becomes very difficult because they'll shoot it with a girl in front of them. They'll shoot it with a girl on their back or a girl on their shoulder. They'll shoot it falling down. So I think that's definitely something I had to adapt to. And I think right here I did a good job of seeing it through traffic. And she didn't look like, if you see this now, I don't think, like, I wouldn't think she was shooting the ball. There's a girl standing in front of her, but, right. But yeah, no, I think that was a good save just from that aspect, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love your stance and positioning, right? Like, I mean, you're right smack splitting the cage from the shooter's perspective. Nice athletic knee bend. Like you could explode low, you could explode high. This shot happens to come high, and it looks like it's, you know, kind of over your head, so you just explode up. No step needed right there.
No, yeah.
It's a great save.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's this play is kind of interesting right here. So
high over the end line.
It's a great inside move for Hogue. She loves that. That is her MO. Good job on Florida
nice
defenders
save.
to try and
So,
stop that.
If you're just listening to the audio, by the way, and you got notes, so UNC takes a shot, and like both the UNC girl and your defender kind of go to chase it out, but UNC wins it, and then she sprints back on the field, and your defender is still like chasing the shot out, and it looks kind of like, here, I don't know what you're saying, but it's kind of something to the extent of, hey, get on her.
Get over here. Something like that.
Yeah, something to the extent of like, hey, get back, which is smart, right? I mean, that's when we talk about lacrosse IQ, it's almost like at this point, like you're seeing, oh no, like this girl's about ready to pick up the ball. As soon as she steps onto the field, the play starts and we're out of position. So like, when we talk about lacrosse IQ and learning the game, I mean, that's a huge thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think another thing, this was, you were never allowed to do this in the past, but with the new rule, it's self-start behind the net. And I think that has been a really, really big change because the amount of times that this happened this year was insane, because I think that also the girl that's running out is a freshman, so she wasn't used to the self-start yet. I think this was our second game. So she didn't even think like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, there's no whistle, like she could just sprint in right now. So I think that was like another thing that was definitely really weird in this play, but it happened a few times this year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she sprints on and you're like, all right, well, I guess I got to make the save. And you kind of get into kind of position. I know she kind of stick your stick out right there. Is that like a specific technique, or talk to us a little bit about that?
I always notice myself doing that for some reason. It's not really any technique. I do notice it though. Like I'll see it in pictures sometimes. I don't know. I think I just get excited, to be honest with you, but that's about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a picture like of you right here that I have, and it kind of looks like, both arms are extended out, which you'd probably agree with me is not great. Like this could be a still, just kind of a snapshot in time, but ideally you want like, some athleticness in some bent elbows so you can then explode out, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then great save. It looks like, I don't know if you get this with your foot or the stick, but I love that save right there.
Thank you.
All right. This one's awesome right here. Mostly because you kind of make the save and then you kind of check with your check to see if you're still in the crease. You're like, yep, I'm still in the crease. Awesome.
Like I'm safe.
Yep, my toes are still in there. The next one I wanted to take a look at is right here, the 8 meter shot. What goes through your head? What are you reading on a play like this, an 8 meter shot?
Well, right now, I guess it's in our right hand. So normally they just run directly in, and just shoot it. And for this hash mark for a righty, it's not the greatest. So honestly, a lot of the time people don't even take this shot, especially if they're not like the best girl on their team or something like that. So I guess in my head, I'm still ready though. And then I guess another scenario that she could do, which I think she does, is come all the way across the 8 and cut off the girl on her left. But yeah, no, free positions are definitely not easy whatsoever. And I think that in high school, it was a really big aspect of my game. Like free positions to me were like free throws. Like I would make every free position save, like, cause I was like, all right, cool. Like that was like a cop out almost. Like I would tell my defense to put them on the 8 meter in high school. But when you get to college, it's not the same at all. Like, in fact, I'm always like, stop putting them on the 8 meter. Like, it is not easy to make a save on these. So yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest hash, but she still takes it. So
yeah. And this angle right here shows your great stance, and you do have that, like we talked about earlier, the athletic bend in the arms and kind of a higher arc. You're like, I don't know. It's definitely not a flat arc. Have you always played, on a higher arc, or is that kind of situation dependent?
So it's definitely situation dependent. I usually play on a pretty flat arc just so I give my hands some time to like react. But on free positions, I do take like about a half a step up. I don't know why. It just really works for me. I guess it just cuts off the angle a little bit more. But that's the only time I'll play pretty high. But
yeah, it makes perfect sense to me, because if you look at this play, I mean, you've got a defender on either hash kind of surrounding the girl, right? So in theory, she has to come straight at you.
yes.
She ends up making a really nice play, which we'll look at in a second. But in that case, like, why not come out and kind of make that goal a lot smaller, cut down that angle, make it harder on that shooter. I'm a big fan of that. So as I mentioned, she ends up, cutting off and looks like she's going to shoot right there. So you have to kind of honor that. You got your stick out, you got your leg out, and then she keeps going, but with the stick in her right hand, and like reaches back, and boom, there's Sarah making that save. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that was definitely a difficult one.
Yeah. Is there another free position? Oh, I was going to ask about this play. I don't think you can do this in the men's game, like pick up the ball and put it into your stick.
Oh, you can't?
So that's legal in the women's game, huh?
Yes.
All right. Learn something new every day.
It always makes it so much more comfortable. I feel like sometimes you just don't want to break it. All you need is just like rake it and rake it. Right,
I mean, if that's legal, why not pick it up and put it in there?
Yep.
I got to be honest. There's a lot of rules I don't understand about the women's game. I've worked with women's goalies, but I've never coached the sport. So, I mean, sometimes like those calls, and I'm just like, what is that? What's going on?
Still growing.
Yeah.
But
Let's watch this play here.
Brooklyn Newman strong and low, but a kick saved by Reznick.
That one looks like it got you.
Yeah, right in the gut.
Right in the gut. All right. Yeah. Do you have a worse place to get hit? Like an absolute, your least favorite spot to take one?
The gut's pretty bad. I would say probably like the gut, or the inside of your thighs, or like your arm, like the inside of your arm, or like your armpit.
Yeah.
I've gotten the armpit a few times.
Did you? Yeah, those are all horrible spots. What kind of pads did you wear growing up?
So I was always the type of goalie that absolutely hated any type of pads. And I think I got it from the beginning with my dad also. I remember like when you first start playing goalie at a third grade level, they didn't like give you the proper equipment. So like they gave me like softball, like catcher, shin guards and stuff. And like my dad's like, yeah, we're going to go buy you some like stuff you can use actually. So I remember even like they would put elbow pads on you. And my dad's like, yeah, you don't need those, and took them off me like from the very beginning. But in high school, you had to wear thigh pads, shin guards, chest protector, throat guard, helmet. But for games, so during practices, I didn't wear thigh pads or shin guards, because at the college level, you don't have to wear any of that.
Yeah.
You just need a chest protector and like your helmet and your throat guard. So that's all I wear in the games now.
What about groin protection? You don't wear any like cup or anything like that?
Nope. I don't think they make that for girls, to be honest. I haven't heard that, but I've always had somebody say to me, you probably should get like something like that. And I don't think they make them for girls, to be honest. But
I was just curious. Yeah, interesting.